Most people are flushing their biological gold down the drain of endless scrolling. What if you could hijack those exact cravings for elite level productivity instead? Well, welcome to today's explainer, where we're going to fundamentally change how you view your own brain chemistry and your daily habits. So think about that idea for a second. Hijacking your cravings. We spend absolutely so much mental energy trying to fight or suppress our urges to check notifications, watch just one more short video, or scroll another thread. But here's the thing. The urge itself isn't the enemy. That feeling is literally biological fuel. What if, instead of fighting it, we simply hijacked it? There's a quote that perfectly hits the nail on the head here. You don't have a discipline problem, you have a dopamine allocation problem. Let that sink in for a moment. And honestly, let it relieve some of the guilt you might be carrying right now. You aren't lazy. You don't lack willpower. You're just suffering from a misallocation of your internal resources. Think of yourself as an investor. Your brain is a chemical bank, and right now you might just be putting your neurological capital into the entirely wrong accounts. It's a structural problem, which means it has a completely structural solution. Okay, let's dive into Section 1, the biological gold drain, and look at the wealth drain on your neurological capital. We really need to examine what's happening when we engage with modern digital consumption. To grasp this, think about your personal chemical budget. This concept maps out what we call reward debt. There is a massive portion of our daily budget dedicated to toxic liabilities. These are your short-form content loops, those endless feeds engineered specifically to keep you hooked. Then you've got passive input, scrolling through AI-generated videos of cats doing math. Fun? For sure. But it completely drains your budget without giving you any real return on investment. The absolute smallest portion for most people is compounding assets, which is focused output. Now, the goal isn't to stop spending dopamine. The goal is to shift your spending from those toxic liabilities right over into compounding assets. Moving right along to Section 2, defining the dopamine spread and how we actually harness trapped, latent energy. Your cravings aren't something to be destroyed. They're raw power just waiting to be harnessed. And this is where we introduce the core concept of this entire explainer, the dopamine spread. This is the gap between low-effort scrolling rewards and high-leverage creative rewards. It's absolutely crucial to understand this. This gap, this spread, is a massive resource. We don't want to eliminate your desire for reward at all. Actually, scratch that. We want to redirect it. We want to take the exact same neurochemical drive that makes you want to scroll and forcefully point it toward high-leverage execution. That is the arbitrage. Buying back your cheap, wasted dopamine and trading it for high-value success, like finally writing that business proposal, editing a video, or organizing your finances. Think about how this plays out. On one hand, low-effort scrolling rewards give you fleeting stimulation. They spike your chemistry, drop it immediately, and leave you feeling completely empty and wanting more. We've all been there, right? Trapped in that cycle. But on the other hand, high-leverage creative rewards might take a bit more friction to start, but they build compounding assets. You write a page, you code a feature, you build a plan. That asset exists tomorrow. That scroll from yesterday? It's completely gone. Have you ever been scrolling for an hour and suddenly felt this weird sense of agitation or anxiety? Like your leg starts bouncing or you feel strangely restless? Well, those are your physiological signals. That's your body literally telling you that your brain is primed for output, but you are artificially keeping it stuck in an endless input loop. You've generated all this latent energy through stimulation, but you aren't doing anything with it. You're basically revving the engine of a parked car. Which brings us to Section 3, the 10-minute bridge protocol, pivoting those exact cravings directly into sprints. Okay, here is the non-theoretical, highly actionable core of today's explainer. This is the exact protocol. Step 1, identify the craving. When you feel that phantom itch to pull out your phone or open a new tab, just pause. Acknowledge the craving. Step 2, set a 10-minute timer. Step 3, execute a high-intensity work sprint on a tangible task for just those 10 minutes. You are literally building a bridge. You're taking the dopamine spike triggered by the craving for a distraction and using that exact chemical rush to fund 10 minutes of hyper-focused output. I actually tried this yesterday. I felt the urge to open Twitter, but I set a timer on my watch instead and decided to just outline an email I'd been putting off for 10 minutes. By minute 4, I was so dialed into the email that I completely forgot Twitter even existed. Usually, by the time the timer goes off, the task has captured your focus entirely, and the craving for the cheap pleasure is totally gone. As you practice this 10-minute bridge, you begin what we like to call microdosing accomplishment. You start tagging your creative milestones to your old consumption triggers. Feeling stressed? Well, instead of scrolling, you write 2 paragraphs. You close the feedback loop immediately. By doing this, you ensure that every single time you get a physiological spike, you're spending it on a tangible asset. You're basically training your brain like a puppy. You're teaching it to crave the treat of execution rather than the empty calories of consumption. Let's move on to Section 4, compounding biological interest, and how you start building assets while you sleep. Because this isn't just about getting through a slow Tuesday afternoon. This is about fundamentally changing the trajectory of your output. There's a massive difference between these two paths. A life spent chasing fleeting stimulation means you reset to zero every single day. You wake up with absolutely nothing to show for yesterday's hours. But when you build a portfolio of digital or physical outputs, you experience exponential growth. By shifting your focus to activities that offer delayed rewards and higher baseline satisfaction, you are quite literally building assets that generate value while you sleep. Your daily chemical budget is finally returning a real long-term profit. And the really beautiful byproduct of this arbitrage is momentum. When you start stringing together these small wins, your baseline dopamine levels stabilize. You suddenly have the cognitive endurance to easily tackle complex problems. And rather than framing this just about crushing the competition, think about what this does for your personal peace of mind. While others are completely draining their batteries on cheap inputs and burning out, you are operating with a fully charged system. You gain back your time, your focus, and yes, an immense competitive edge, simply by managing your chemistry better. But to make this stick, you really have to optimize your human operating system. You cannot rely on willpower alone. You need to audit your environment, remove the cues that trigger those toxic liabilities, put your phone in another room, block the distracting sites. By doing this, you automate the arbitrage process and drastically reduce decision fatigue. You want the path of least resistance to be the path of high leverage output. So tonight, literally just try leaving your phone in the kitchen when you go to bed. Prioritize high-value neurochemical releases over instant gratification for a competitive edge. We live in an increasingly distracted global market where authentic focus is the ultimate scarcity. If you can simply pay attention, you are already ahead. By standardizing a routine around this dopamine arbitrage, you aren't just improving your productivity for a day, you are fundamentally upgrading your overall value in the world. Which leaves us with one final, essential question to ask yourself as you finish up this explainer today. The next time you feel that familiar itch to check your phone, the next time that craving hits, what will your next craving actually build? The energy is there, the biological gold is yours to spend. It's time to stop flushing it and start investing it.